Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back from another OPTC video, and in today's video, PvP, let's talk about PvP and Grand Party in OPTC. At the back end of these big celebrations, like the Gear 5 celebration that is going on right now, I like to take all of the characters, legends, and PvP rare recruits and put them onto a tier list for you guys to understand who are the best and most valuable characters to be using in the PvP game mode. With Grand Party coming around once a month, PvP being played every single day, and Super Pyre Rumbles becoming more and more prevalent, hopefully this tier list helps you guys out with what characters to be using on said teams, as well as what characters are the best characters to be using for PvP. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. It's been about 3 months since Anniversary with Luffy, Yamato, Zoro, and Sanji. So we have a lot of characters to add to this tier list. We're going to make some changes and adjustments because some characters have sort of dropped out of the meta and stuff like that. But if you enjoy the video, bell the like button, hit the subscribe button if you guys are new or if you haven't done so already. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys agree or disagree, because remember, this is just subjective to me actually playing the game. If you guys have any more insight on PvP, please let me know down below as well. Because, look, I'm not the greatest PvP player in the world, but, look, I do very much enjoy the game mode. To the fact that Grand Party is, like, honestly one of my favorite game modes. So, hopefully, this particular tier list helps you guys out. With that said, let's take a look at PvP characters for the end of the Gear 5 celebration. So, looking at last tier list, this is basically what it did look like. I'm going to quickly go through the tiers and whatnot, just so you guys get an idea of what's going on. Basically, in Pirate Rumble, strength beats dex, dex beats quick, quick beats strength, and then sight into interchangeable. But that doesn't mean we can sort of say that, for example, Kaido is on the same level. Super Tentacle Kaido is on the same level as Zoro, just because Kaido is so good when you are versing dex. I do have some tiers for that, but look, that's basically where the criteria comes in. When it comes to PvP, defense isn't as prevalent as offense actually is. Defensive strategies revolve around stuff like 3-man teams, 4-man teams in like blocks, and then utilizing particular characters that can kind of like bait win, stuff like waifus and whatnot as well. So today we're really focusing on offense. Now the top 5, this was my top 5 as of a few months ago. This will drastically change today, so make sure to hang around to the end of the video because this is definitely going to be different and you'll want to know why. The GOATs, these are the greatest of all time. These are so good, these units. They're just not in the top 5. They're just outside of the top 5. They work exceptionally well on their teams, or they have multiple teams they can go on to. So, like, if we take a look at the top 5, you have the Striker team, you have the Slash team, you have the Free Spirit team, you have the Striker team, you have the Striker, you have the Quick Driven team, you have the Driven team, and you have, like, every team you want to put this unit on, and then you have the Dex team. Over here, Jack goes on Strikers, he goes on Strength, he goes on Rainbow teams, Sanji goes on Free Spirits, Zoro is so good for slashes and defensive teams alike, as well as quick Free Spirit teams. Odin is just fantastic and a staple on the Free Spirit and the Side team. You can also do some stuff with slashes with him. You have Kid, who goes on Strikers and Strength. The Kainu is a must on quick teams, as well as Driven teams being very, very good as well. And then you have like your PP rare recruits and your bench units of like Doflamingo going just on the back end crazy of every team he goes on. Smoker being fantastic. Pell and Dalton being so good. Fuji is incredible. And then you've got the nuking options of these two units of King and Blue Jam as well. Moving on to meta. Now these meta units are basically units that are so good for a particular reason. Like Apu, he decimates Sai, and that's what makes him so good. The combination of the giants together works exceptionally well. Kid is kind of a staple on the meta-driven team, especially when you're talking int-driven. Kuma, he's on the meta for like the strength, for a strength-based team. You have Straw Hat Crew with like Free Spirits, and then you have like your Dex options here of Blackbeard and Yamato when versing quick, but are still very, very good on the team when you're not versing quick. Like, that's sort of what I mean by, like, meta-based teams. Same with Apu, right? Like, Apu works so well against Sai, but he still works really, really well on the int or the int-driven based team regardless. Wano Law, when versing driven powerhouse, is just so good. This Zoro on slashes is actually incredible. I actually love this Zoro on slashes now. Since I've done this, I think he's definitely gotten better. And then you got like Odin, K-Dad, their combination is fantastic. Shiki's can work really well. And then you've got your PP rare recruits that are like must-haves on their respective teams. Looking at the meta though, I definitely want to drop Bardo Cavendish down as well as Odin and Toki. I just think those two units definitely haven't shone that much in the last couple months. And I definitely think that Straw Hat Crew V2 honestly, is on their way out as well. I'm going to put them in great unit just because there's so many other Straw Hats nowadays that unit is just, it really struggles for that particular reason. Looking at great units, all these characters are fantastic, and you definitely can use them on particular teams. They all work exceptionally well. Who's Who, I'm definitely going to take down into, like, honestly, like, an option. I think Who's an option, but I don't have Who's Who, but I just don't really see him being used all that much, and people that have him have just told me, like, that he's not that great. Neko's fantastic. Killer, I'm going to bring down. I've never really used Killer. I tried to use Killer. He's just definitely an option nowadays. He seemed good on paper early. Kaido's fantastic with his revive. Yamato with half stats is great. Carrot Wanda's fantastic. Rayleigh, I'm going to bring down to a defensive juggernaut. I think he's just so good in defensive teams. The slashing units of Kizaru, Cracker are awesome. Defensive unit of Dofi, Neko Inu is awesome. Basically, you get the gist. These characters are all very, very good on their respective teams, with or without that type advantage that most PvP teams sort of thrive on when actually versing each other. Next, we have the Terrific with Advantage. Now, these characters are all exceptionally good, but shine the most when you are going up against the advantageous, what they're advantageous against. So, Bonnie, for example, works so good against Human Powerhouse. Kizaru, Moria, Dogstorm are also good against Quick. The strength units are all good against Dex. You guys get the gist, right? All these characters have purpose when you are going up against something that you know what is in front of you. The downside to these units are it's very hard to use them in Grand Party because a lot of the teams become harder to see, so you're not really going to have that benefit when it comes to utilizing these particular characters. Doesn't mean they're bad. They're actually really, really good in regular play, but they're only used when you are going up against those particular types to actually get that W against their opposition. The Great Team Bad Unit, these are all really good characters. It's just a shame that their teams just aren't exactly there. You've got like the Fighter Team, Driven Team, the Shooter Team, Cerebral Team. Like, these characters all are very, very good. It's just that they don't really have a spot because their team kind of sucks. Defensive Juggernauts, these characters are all like defensive units that you would probably stereotypically run on a defensive team to either get bait wins or to just like stall out fights or to sort of throw a bit of a spanner in the works that your opposition doesn't really know about. So if you're looking for defensive options, these are all very, very good. I'm actually going to bring Donjin Jiao up into Great Unit. Donjin Jiao gets used a lot in Grand Party, and he's so annoying. He can stall out wins, and that's actually a way to win in Grand Party. As for option, these characters aren't bad. They're just options. Like, you can use them. They're just not like fantastic to be used on their said teams, just because it's just they've either had their time in the sun or they just need to. There's just better units. The one I'm going to move up though is Smoothie. I think Smoothie is a great unit. I think she definitely deserves a little bit more love, like in terms of an option. But I'm going to bring Kaido down. I think nowadays Kaido is just an option. He's still very good, but nowhere near as what he good as he once was. Brogimos is a great nukers. I'm going to bring Katakuri down. I think Katakuri is a great unit, but he just has a bad team. He's mainly used for fighter teams, which definitely suck. Orochi's a lot better than Kaido in my opinion, so I do want to keep him up here. And yeah, pretty happy with everything else there. As for OK, I guess, like, these characters, you can use them, but like, why? Like, I just don't understand why you would. Kogara and Nolan did get a bit of a buff with their level limit break, so they could possibly go higher, but everything else, they have PvP abilities, they're just never used. We have Nami in the bugged category. I honestly am at a point now where I don't even know if Nami is bugged. She might be, she might not be, but I'm gonna bring Stussy and Vivi both up into, yeah, they're okay, I guess. But honestly, if she works the way that she's meant to, in the way that we all read her to be, she is way better than anyone gives her credit for. And a lot of people blow up about my endgame tier list because I have her so high, and PvP is part of that. Well, if she wasn't bugged and she does what she does, like what we expect her to do, then she definitely wouldn't get that much slack. As for here, you're never going to use these units. Don't worry about them. Let's move on. So let's take a look at these particular characters down here, because we have a lot to talk about today. And with that, let's start with Whitebeard. Now, Whitebeard is a powerhouse-sized striker, and look, he's just okay, I guess. I tried using this unit, man. I really, really tried. But he just doesn't seem to have a spot anywhere. Side teams definitely don't need him. Powerhouse teams are kind of whatever, and striker teams, side striker in particular, aren't exactly a thing. With Hina's release, which we'll talk about later, and Yamato being something and Nami still being bugged, like, you could do some stuff with it, but like this unit is sort of built around the powerhouse sort of game rather than the striker game. So that's kind of a downside to him, as well as being obviously side that doesn't really need that with the whole Gear 5 situation. Next we've got Blackbeard. Blackbeard does seem like quite good, and he's definitely an option. However, the powerhouse team, it's never really taken off. It definitely can be something, but this guy here, honestly, I've tried using him on that powerhouse team, and in my opinion, he's just an option. He's sort of a back-end option too, if I'm being completely honest. He does a lot of deep, nerfing, but nothing that's too drastic in the sense that he really helps the team out. Really good for stall strategies, and obviously with Dex Powerhouse being quite strong, you definitely could use him. But with this particular Blackbeard running around, I just don't understand why you would ever run the verse Blackbeard over this particular Blackbeard. It just doesn't make sense to me, especially if you have that Blackbeard at level limit break 4. It makes zero sense. Moving down now, we have Shanks and Buggy. Now, Shanks and Buggy honestly blew me away a little bit. I think this particular character is a great unit, as they're a very, very good option for the slasher team. I've seen a lot of people run this character on the slasher team because they do so much damage. For me, though, they're just not something that I would definitely use. Like Carrot Wanda, Cracker, and these characters down here, in terms of your slasher builds that you have with these characters here, Shanks Buggy is just sort of another option for that. A very good option, nonetheless, but still just an option. It depends on what you're trying to do with the team. If you're trying to be speedy, then you want to be using stuff like Cracker and Kizaru. If you want to be more tanky, you're using stuff like Carrot Wanda, Neko, Bardo Cavendish, and Dofi. But if you want more damage, you're using Shanks and Buggy. Now, Shanks and Buggy do have a very, very strong competitor they have to compete with. That is this particular Shanks crew. Now, as you can see, I had Shanks crew in my top 5 about 3 months ago. Shanks crew goes on so many different teams, not just the slasher team per se, that it makes it very, very hard to replace this particular character with something like Shanks and Buggy. However, if you are doing some really, really fast team stuff with Shanks and Buggy, using Cracker, Kizaru, Odin, K-Dad, Whitebeard Roger, you have a very strong core setup there, but Shanks and Buggy, in my opinion, don't really go places in terms of the slasher team. They're a great unit, and they have a very good GP countering Roger, but I just didn't find them as effective in Grand Parties as I would have liked, but I definitely found them better in regular PvP than I originally thought. Next, we have the unit that is Crocodile and Doflamingo. Crocodile and Doflamingo, look, they're okay, I guess. I really wanted to use them in Grand Party under Black Marine Ulti, but look, they didn't really go places. They just they got real held back by the fact that the Cerebral team isn't really there. Plus, they just got a lot of other options. The Driven team is already set up with being either Quick Driven or In Driven, and obviously being a dual unit, you don't have that color to back you up. So they're okay. They're okay, I guess, but they're nothing that I would go crazy for. Next, we have Luffy and Ace. Luffy and Ace, honestly, they're an option. The big problem with Luffy and Ace is Luffy and Ace has the name Luffy and Ace. That is the one big issue with the character. And obviously with Gear 5 being out now, with, what's it called? With a whole bunch of other Luffys, Luffy Yamato, you have the Super Tandem Ace. The downside to this unit is their name. That doesn't take away from what the unit can do. And honestly, I have actually been seeing this guy very, very well used on a defensive team. People don't really know what the character does, and he kind of comes out of nowhere, and he just does some really, really fun stuff. But with the amount of Luffys in the game, it just makes it so hard to use this unit on an offensive team. But look, try them out on a defensive team, because they definitely will surprise you a little bit. 6+s are always really good if they have viability in PvP, so it's nice to see that there is something there. Next, we have Koala and Robin. Koala and Robin are a product of a good unit on a bad team. Again, the Cerebral team just isn't there. I'm actually going to bring Ivankov, by the way. I'm going to bring Ivankov down to okay, I guess. I tried using Ivankov, but I just think Ivankov is so bad, man. Ivankov is so bad. He's so bad. But yeah, Robin Koala is they're fantastic, but their idea team is Cerebral, and the idea is to sort of nerf Free Spirit, but it just kind of didn't do what it needed to do. It can sometimes get like some really good wins, but it kind of had its like moment in the sun for about 5 seconds and then sort of dropped off. Looking at Inazuma though, Inazuma needs to be up here in like great unit to meta. Like this unit is on a bench is so good. I'm gonna put him in meta. Like I use that unit on the bench so goddamn much. But as for where do they go? As for Robin Koala, definitely a product of a bad team. Great unit, but look, bad team. It's just it is what it is. Taking a look at honestly, I'm going to put Black Marine Ulti. Where are you? Oh my god, I've lost myself here. I'm going to put Black Marine Ulti and Carrot and Nami in the same boat. The Cerebral team, once like I said, it's just not there. It's just not where it needs to be. Carrot and Nami, honestly, I think they're probably just an option for a bad team, good unit, because their design is sort of back-ended damage, but the Black Marine Ulti, they're a staple in that Cerebral team. They can do so much damage that they're sort of a must if you are running any sort of cerebral shenanigans. And obviously you can do something like Crocus on there as well. You've got Robin Koala. You can even use Shanks and Uta and do some fun stuff there. So whilst they're a very good unit, the Cerebral team just needs a lot of help. And in Grand Party, I just hated the fact that they boost Driven, and then they are Cerebral, and they do some weird stuff there. But as for the 6+ that came alongside them, being Nami and Robin from the Super Boss, I think this unit is fantastic. I used this unit on a Free Spirit team, and they went so hard. They have like a 40% HP cut. They do very, very good passive, just buffing everyone. They are Free Spirit, they are Cerebral, and the Free Spirit team is sort of very good around dual units anyway. So I really enjoyed using this particular character on a Free Spirit team. I think they're a great unit. I don't know if I would put them up in meta. I definitely had them up in... You know, I'm probably going to move them up, because I thought that was so good on the Free Spirit team that I definitely had them popping off where I needed to see. But the thing is, though, most of the time I would be running this Waifu unit, especially on defensive teams. But this Waifu unit can make or break fights. As for offensive, though, I do think that, yeah, this Nami and Robin is so good on that Free Spirit team. But they have options to be on literally every single team. So I'm going to move them up into meta for now, because like I was genuinely so impressed with the character. Moving on to the Reverie Girls. Now, the Reverie Girls I have not used. So I'm going to put them in okay, I guess. There's nothing about them that tells me that they could be good. I've read their kit, and I'm not blown away at all. I'm just going to leave them there. Correct me in the comment section if you guys disagree. As for Izo, Izo's the same. He goes on shooter teams. Shooter teams aren't nearly where it needs to be. So I'm going to put him right next to... I'm going to be right behind the unit that just does everything that he does a bit better. So that's Izo. Like, not much else to say. Again, I don't have Izo, so I haven't had a chance to test him. But, again, let me know in the comment section below if you guys completely disagree with me. Next, we have Kawamatsu. Kawamatsu he's a pretty good unit, honestly. I think Kawamatsu is very reminiscent on the Slash team as what Cracker and Kizaru can do. For myself, I think that Cracker is just better than any other unit on the Slasher team that we have down here. So I'm going to bring him up into meta and sort of just give some separation between all of these Slasher characters. Because when we take a look at it, right, you have so many Slasher boosters here in great units that once you sort of build out your core team with like Odin, K-Dad, Roger Whitebeard, I would say Cracker. You could use Zora if you want to. I'm a big fan of Zora with his buffs. But if you guys are missing any of those units, you have a plethora of options here for the Slasher build. Slashers just need that one PvP rare recruit that just makes them go absolutely crazy. But instead, they got a PvP legend that is Kawamatsu. It's kind of annoying, man. Honestly, it's kind of annoying. Kawamatsu is a rare recruit. This unit would just be so crazy. Probably too good, to be honest. But giving cooldown reduction, usually he goes first. But if he doesn't go first, then it kind of hinders what he's trying to do. He does some what's it called? Some hindrance and stuff like that to the opposition. So he's a good unit. Like, he's a really, really good unit. But again, like, seeing like Kizaru and stuff like still be so useful makes it hard to put this guy in meta. On to the Gear 5 celebration now. We had some other legends and 6+s, but we also got some PvP rare recruits scattered throughout this particular celebration as well. Now, we had Gene Bart, who came out sort of around here, in between this sort of situation. But before that, we had Marigold and Hina. Now, these units are actually really, really good. The Marigold especially, in my opinion, is absolutely fantastic. This unit, for me, is like a meta-based unit for my strength teams because it makes this unit so good. You then have Sasaki, who is an absolute demon, who I'm actually going to bring up. I think Sasaki is an absolute goat. This Marigold alongside stuff like the Striker build that you can do with like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like 5. Like, you have so many really good options when it comes to strength and the strength Striker builds that Marigold, in my opinion, just finds her way into meta. You can easily use her on the bench as well. And then obviously with this Sandersonia, if you don't use the waifus, you can use this unit in the front. And then you can use Sandersonia on the bench and go absolutely ballistic. So now the two of them having PvP rare recruits, it's just so fun to use and so exciting to see what Sandersonia can do off the bench now that Marigold sort of sits in the front. As for Hina, I think Hina is a great unit. I use Hina more or less off the bench or in the front of a side team that has stuff like Enel and Yamato, and trying to get some striker shenaniganry going with that core striker team. You have Kuzen as well, by the way. Kuzen is just a fantastic striker side unit. Honestly, he should be up here in GOATs. Yeah, here. So if you're doing some stuff with like Kuzen, Yamato, Hina, and then utilizing stuff like Enel as well, and this smoothie unit you can use too. Not a striker, but you guys get the gist. You can do some really fun stuff there, but Hina, in my opinion, she works a little bit better off the bench, sort of coming in with those striker teams, or doing some striker build stuff with the striker team, using stuff like Roger Whitebeard, Hina, Kuzen, Tesoro, and those types of units. For that reason, she's a great unit. I don't think she falls into the meta, because I feel like I use the strength striker build a little bit more than that, but that doesn't mean that she's bad. I still think she's a fantastic character. Really, really good unit, and I would definitely max her out if you actually manage to pick her up. The final one was Gene Bart, but he came around like the lore time frame, so let's talk about him back when we get there. Let's dive into the Kazuna before we dive into the Gear 5 celebration. So we had Reiju. Reiju doesn't seem to be anything flash in PvP. I don't have Reiju, so just like Izo, I can't really comment too much because I haven't had a chance to use her. Same with the Reverie Girls, I guess, because I just haven't used them, but on paper, I just don't see her being super crazy. You could put her on Dex teams, I guess, but there's just so many other options that maybe you could say that she's an option to me, but I just don't really see it myself. But like I said, let me know in the comment section below if there's something else that I don't see. As for Jumanji, they're pretty good, actually. They're just on a bad team. Powerhouse, in my opinion, they're just not there. They're just not where they need to be. But as you can see here, you have some really good overlay with Powerhouse and Fighter. So you can do some really cool stuff here with these characters here with Powerhouse Fighters, and then use something like Donjin Jiao as well, being a Powerhouse Fighter. You have Garp, who's a Powerhouse Fighter as well, and you can do some really fun stuff there. But again, it's just fun stuff. Like, it's nothing too crazy, and it's nothing that's sort of going to get units over the edge. But Jumanji was really nice to see that they could be used. They just need a little bit more work in terms of what's happening with that Powerhouse sort of team. Moving on to Whitebeard and Marco. I haven't used Whitebeard and Marco yet. I haven't even read them. So I'm going to put them in RK, I guess. Please, someone let me know down below if you've used the unit in PvP. Because I guess they could be used if they do something. You know what? I'm going to give them the time of day, and I'm actually going to go read what the unit does. Alright, I read them, they're bad. Like, they're just so bad. They're so bad. They've used Powerhouse, they've used Strikers, and they're just all built around defense. They heal if they're below a certain HP, like, then they remove half stats. I guess you could argue to me that maybe they're a defensive juggernaut. I could possibly see some really annoying stuff with this unit on a defensive team. But other than that, no, they're bad. They're just bad. They're so bad. They're bad. They're bad. Alright, let's dive into Gear 5 Celebration now. The Gear 5 Celebration is just wrapping up, and this is where this sort of video does stem from for these types of videos. So, we're going to start off with Gear 5, and then we're going to finish with Gear 5 as well, because it just makes the most sense, right? So, Gear 5 6-star is incredible. You guys have seen what this unit can do in Grand Party with his burst. He goes absolutely ballistic in Grand Party. He has one of the best passives, he has one of the best specials, and he's completely replaced Roger as the best GP leader in the game. For that reason, I'm going to bring down Luffy into goats. He's still fantastic. He has the 50% revive for any deck character. Still a very, very good unit on Dex teams, but when we're talking Psy teams, Gear 5 is a must. Has to be run. He's a free spirit, so Odin does buff him as well. He does very, very good damage that goes through defense. He's just a fantastic character. His sprite is incredible. He's so good. Like, I don't really know what else to say about this unit. He only goes on Psy, though, which kind of makes it very hard for the unit to have a bit of versatility like these other characters do. But if you're looking at these two Luffys, this Luffy he's just better in every single way for what he does in terms of on his team, rather than what this Luffy was actually doing. I don't remember, does this Luffy have a revive? I believe he has a revive. I want to say he has a revive. But, yeah, he goes so well. He does a lot of damage. He does a lot of bulk for the team. He's just exceptional alongside these particular units as well. You can even run him alongside Kuzans, and you can run him alongside Rebecca Toy Soldiers. You do some really, really cool stuff there. So this, the 6-star is incredible of Gear 5, and in Grand Party, he's just been running amok and doing some absolutely crazy things. Next, we have Odin. Not Odin, we have Momo. Momo is really good alongside this Odin. As long as you have an Odin or a Toki on the team, he can apply a shield, but he only buffs Psy, and he's a free spirit. So you can do some really cool stuff with free spirit Psy, right? You have a lot of really good options here. You can do stuff with Wano Law, Rebecca Toy Soldier. However, Momo, in practicality, compared to what he actually does, isn't that good. Honestly, he's just not a unit that I would definitely run. In terms of the meta, I would 100% be running something like Wano Law over him, just for like the extra cooldowns. I would definitely be running Kuzan over him, because Kuzan's crazy. So honestly, Momo's just a great unit. Like, he's just good. Just a really good unit for the team. He's a free spirit slasher, so you could put him on some sort of slasher build and do some slasher shenaniganry here with Odin as well. But nevertheless, he's just a really good unit, really great unit, and definitely can provide the team something. There's just other units that I would run higher over the top of him. Next we have Kid Law. Kid Law honestly has kind of blown me away. On the free spirit team, they are just an absolute meta unit. I love using this unit because there's so much powerhouse and driven running around at the moment. I'm going to bring this particular unit down to a great unit now, because if you have the two of these characters, you're going to be running Kid Law. Kid Law has that ability, or actually no, so Kid Law, I'm going to leave Robin Nami there. Kid Law are a goat. Completely lost my track there, so I do apologize. Kid Law are fantastic because you have so many driven powerhouse characters running around. The downside to them is they are a dual unit, and they do go on the driven team or the free spirit team. I find they work better on the free spirit team, because when you take a look at this sort of list up here, we have a driven unit, 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 driven powerhouse, driven powerhouse, driven powerhouse. No. So Kid Law, when you are versing a variety of different teams on the free spirit team, reduces their defense so drastically that your other free spirit characters can come in and just do absolute bits when it comes to damage. So the unit itself might not have that much versatility, but when you do come up against what you are actually, what they're good against, this unit goes so crazy. Very similar to what Wano Law's doing on the side team. If you are versing driven powerhouse, this unit is doing it for the free spirit team, which, in my opinion, works way better across the board against a variety of different teams, rather than what Psy is actually doing against a variety of teams. Kid Law, they're very, very good. Be very, very careful of them. They do have a very interesting Grand Party as well, and they're very, very good in that regard. So definitely a very, very powerful unit. Moving down now, we have Big Mom. Now, Big Mom, Big Mom. Big Mom on the Dex team is sort of like what Luffy is on the Dex team. Big Mom is insane. She has the ability to halve stats, which on a Dex team is kind of crazy, because when you have this unit in the front alongside her, or you utilize Blackbeard alongside them too, and you do some driven powerhouse shenanigan stuff, man, you can do some absolutely busted ass things. Dalton and Pell buffing powerhouse, and then Dalton being powerhouse too, works out quite well. But when you have this sort of setup ready to go, Big Mom just goes absolutely ballistic. She gives you so much damage output. In Grand Party, she's got an amazing leader skill and an amazing burst. She is so freaking good. Like, so freaking good. It's one of the reasons I rank her so highly in the game. Not only being just a fantastic unit for damage output in Kizuna, but in PvP, this unit goes so crazy. Like, so damn crazy. I don't have her in my top 5, but I do think that she is a fantastic character. Like, an absolute phenomenal character. Moving down now, we have the PvP character that came out alongside them that is Jean Bart. Now, Jean Bart, I don't own, but I've seen some pretty good stuff with this particular character. I'm going to put him at the back end of great unit because he does go like very well on the bench, provided you have a law unit on the team. If you have a law unit, this guy goes crazy, so you can use him on a driven team with Kid Law, or you can use him as a bench unit on the Free Spirit team, and that's sort of stereotypically where I've seen him used the most. But I haven't really had enough experience versing the unit or using the unit to really put him anywhere that is higher than this. But again, if you guys have used the character and you guys think that he's above this, please let me know, and please let me know why. And I will definitely come back to him on the next tier list or time we do this. Or I'll pin the comment if it's something really, really drastic. Next, we've got Kanjuro. Kanjuro is a terrific unit, provided you have type advantage. He is just a straight-out killer of decks, very similar to what this Kaido is, very similar to what this X-Drake is. So, very, very powerful character if you are doing some stuff against Wednesday. But the strength team versus Dex already has so much going for it that he's definitely not in need for that particular team. Plus the slashes of Toki, Kaku, like those types of units go crazy anyway, so he just sort of isn't needed, and like I'm very upset with that Kanjuro list. Alongside Kanjuro came Kaido. Kaido in regular play is so freaking good, but honestly in PvP he's just an option. Like, he seems like he can go crazy, right? He does damage that goes through defense, provided he's below 50%. But getting him below that 50% is so damn hard. And when you do, you just die. Like, you just become so freaking... You become so squishy. The team is so squishy that units just melt before this unit has a chance to go off. And unfortunately, I believe he's just an option. I haven't really given him the time to sort of do anything more, and I do believe he could have the potential of being a great unit, but in PvP, he's just an option. He's just an option. He's something that you'd want to use, but like just doesn't go as crazy as I would have hoped for. So, very, very powerful character in regular play, but in PvP, unfortunately, Kaido just felt short just a little bit. Finally, though, we have the big dog that is 6+ Gear 5. 6+ Gear 5 is crazy. They took away the Psi that Gear 5 had, and they replaced it with Free Spirit. And once again, like I said, I do believe Free Spirit has more potential against variety of teams than what Psi does. Now, in saying that, Psi Free Spirit has so many very good characters at its disposal that you can actually do some really fun stuff with Psi Free Spirit. And I do believe that's where this unit works best. He does work best on the Psi Free Spirit team alongside Odin, Yamato, Rebecca Toy Soldier, and Roger. I love running that team. I think it's so good. And seeing what this guy does in Grand Party to see now what this guy is probably going to do with his burst, it's going to be very interesting to see how much damage output this guy actually has. On top of that, though, because these two units are different, in Grand Party, you could do some shenanigans with Psi Free Spirit. You could then run this guy on a Free Spirit team, and then run Luffy Yamato on a Striker team. Now, the downside to this guy on a Free Spirit team is he does have to compete with Luffy and Yamato. Luffy and Yamato are very, very good at the back end, just decimating a team. They have an exceptionally powerful passive, and they just do very, very nice things. But utilizing this character on the Free Spirit team, I was just as impressed. I know a lot of people are going to sit there and say that Luffy Yamato are better on the Free Spirit team, and look, part of me does agree with you, but if we're talking at the back end of Grand Party and other game, like the the whole round PvP game mode, leader skill and all, I do believe that this Luffy is the best PvP / Grand Party unit in the entire game. Roger Whitebeard has finally been taken over as the best PvP character in the game, in my opinion. And that means we have to take a unit out of the top 5, because we have top 6 sitting right here. And honestly, I do believe that unit is going to be Tesoro. Tesoro works exceptionally well across a variety of different teams, quick driven, the regular quick team, striker team. He is actually fantastic. But you do need him, obviously, level limit break 4. You know what? Actually, I'm going to bring Shanks Crew down. Shanks Crew is just like a unit you slap on a bunch of different teams, kind of like Jack. Where Tesoro, he's just so, like, he's a staple on so many different teams. I do think he's at the back end of the top 5. Luffy and Yamato still hold their own very, very nicely across their teams. But when we're talking just Grand Party leader, what he does for the 2 teams that you are going to bring this guy on, this guy goes absolutely AWOL. And if you hybrid him up with these units here being Zoro and Sanji, and then you have like a bunch of other free spirit characters of like Kid Law, and then what they can do in terms of lowering the defense if you're coming up against Powerhouse free spirit, Powerhouse driven, and then you use something like Odin as well, this character just goes to the absolute moon. Plus, he has 100% chance to revive. He has a revive at 100% HP, which is disgustingly broken. When you run the 2 of these characters together and then you get hit by Roger Whitebeard and Roger Whitebeard kills them, they just revive, and it's like, cool, that was a fun special, and you just move on with your day. It's so nuts. But that's going to wrap up the PvP tier list. Like I said, it was definitely going to change by the back end of the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comment section below. But remember, keep it fun, keep it friendly, as this is my personal opinion, and you are very entitled to yours. While you're down there, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff for me. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.